Hello my crafty friends, it's Michelle with the Southern Shell, and I am here with April's Sheetload of Cards by Call Me Crafty Owl. And I usually do one earlier in the month, but a lot of you know that follow me, I have had a couple procedures done, and so I'm a little slow getting some of my crafting stuff done. But I am here and I decided I am going to, I've got a few cards I need to make for my April. I try to mail everything out one day a month, and I need to make sure I get all my cards done. So I need to get this done, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna do the sheetload of cards and the cards I need to do all at once. So if you are not familiar with Call Me Crafty Owl, she puts out a sheetload of card diagram. Oh my goodness, what would you call that? Just this. See, there goes my crazy little thought. It's the sketch and the supply list. There we go. Might help if I'm on the front page. And she shows you a sketch of the card and how to lay your pattern paper and just some different ideas, the supplies that you need. Paper supplies, cardstock, the dimensions, any alternative ways that you can possibly use it. And then on the second, it tells you that this is the mini slimline edition. You need 2 pieces of pattern paper that are 12 by 12. And on this one, you need 10 pieces of cardstock at 8.5 by 11. And that's going to give you 10 mini slimline card bases. And it's also going to give you some of the front pieces that you're going to need to put your card together. This is the diagram of how you're going to cut your 12 by 12s, and it's so easy to do. So what I've done is I pulled out my Craft Smart paper here, and I pulled my bumblebees, and I used a rose on top of that with the bumblebee. And I think I only had one of those. But what I usually do is I pull my 2 pieces. I get all of my card and my paper cut. So not only did I get my card cut already, but I took and I stamped what I needed to stamp. So there is. Here are my card bases all stamped and ready to go. I got those. I'm going to set those just aside for a moment. When you look at your pattern paper pieces, you are going to have, here's the rose pattern I used. Isn't that just gorgeous? I just think that's so pretty. So I have 5 of the roses and 5 of the bees. And then you also have some smaller pieces of your roses and your bees. And then with the card, the smaller, thinner pieces are going to be your sentiment on the front of your card. So I went ahead and once I had those all cut, I went ahead and stamped out the different sentiments I'm going to need, and that's this one right here. I've got those done. And then the other small card is what these pieces here are going to layer on top of. So let's go ahead and just get all of these layered so they're done and out of the way. Just going to use my ATG gun here. I just filled it back up. Right at those edges. And then this is going to center right in the middle of that card. Now I used 120-pound cardstock. Make sure I know kind of what the. Okay, so when you look at that, it's going to go edge to edge and it's going to center in the middle of that. I wanted to make sure before I put that down. So edge to edge, and then make sure that you're even. Just push that down. And so I'm going to do that with all of my pieces here. Alright, I'm going to finish getting these all on here, and I'll be right back. So I have all my pieces on there, and so the next thing I'm going to do is I've got a couple different directions for these to go. I have these that are going to go lengthwise, and then these are going to go horizontal. And so all of our bees and roses are going to go on the front of these cards. So since these are the only two that are going vertical, I'm going to make sure that I have something. There we go. I think those two will be very pretty going vertical on those. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that those go on here on these two vertical cards. And then the rest are going to go on the horizontal ones. And once again, we're just going to use our ATG. Now you can use your art glitter glue or your Fabri-Tac, whatever you prefer as your adhesive. Just make sure that since you're giving these as gifts, that you're making sure that these are down nice and strong, and that they're not going to lift up. You know, you don't want to get a card that's just not done, that's done halfway. I said this cardstock is very heavy, and so when I'm laying it down, I want to make sure, and I think that was my problem, is I didn't have it quite flat. There we go. Much better. Okay, so there's my first two. Look how pretty those are. And let's go ahead and get the rest of these down on my card bases. I want to make sure that if there's a directional, that I'm putting it on there properly. Right up on that edge. Make sure I've got the same distance. Press it on down. And there's that. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these on, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have my card bases all with their little pieces on there, and I have my bumblebees and my roses separated because my bees are going to go on my rose bases and my roses are going to go on my bee bases. Put this there, and then I'm going to trim it down, and I'm going to use my glue so I can wiggle it around a little bit. And then the wow is going to go on there. I'm just going to adjust it and do some other little things with it. So I'm going to set the wow on the inside. And let's go ahead and get this one done. Put that one in there. And then I'm going to set those aside. And so I'm going to get the rest of these on here. And I'll be right back. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and get some little pieces and decide how I'm going to get my little sentiments across the top and do a little bling or pearl or whatever I want to do on there. So I'll be right back. So I have 2 happy birthday ones and 2 thank you ones, and then the rest moms. So I have some ribbon and some flat back pearls. So I'm just going to take some of my small flat backs. I'm going to put a few here on my mat. And move that aside. And I have some leaves that I just cut out. Simple leaf. You just fold it and cut it. Super easy to do. I made them out of circle punches. So here's a circle punch. I actually made little holly leaves by using a crimped scissor to go around that. But I am just going to use some of these that I just trimmed out of that circle punch. And get those back in the bag. Let's get started. Now, I want to make some creases in my leaves to make it look like the veins in the leaves. So I'm just going to fold it, and then I'm going to fold those back and forth. Simple. Come down a little further, fold it back and forth, and down at the bottom, fold it back and forth. Now when you open it, you have some veins in your leaves. I'll fold it over into the other direction, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So now I open it, and on my textured side, I have some veined leaves. There we go. I'm gonna get some ribbon cut. And let's get to decorating these. This is the style I'm deciding to go with. So I've got some ribbons, some flatbacks, and some of those leaves, and then my mom or whatever I'm putting across the front of it. So what I've done is I took my distressed oxide peeled paint, took those leaves that I creased and folded, and I'm just going to open that up, and I'm just going to run it across the top of that. And it's just going to give some highlights to where those creases are. Nothing bold. This is a real soft card. But instead of doing the green, I am going to go ahead and switch to a pink. So I'm going to move this aside. I have the distressed oxide sponge sugar. So what I'm going to do with the sentiments on the front, little statements on the front, I'm just going to cut up the center, and then I'm going to bring that right on in, corner to center, and then I'm going to bring in my little finger dauber here, and that's just going to go right along those little edges, and it's just going to bring a little more of that pink in. Not a lot, because it has more salmon and those tones to it. So let me show you how we're putting this together. Okay, so this is a mom, and I have my hot glue gun going, and I have some ribbon here, and I'm going to take 3 fingers, and I'm going to wrap 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just rough, because I'm just going to pull that, and I'm going to kind of twist it right there in the middle. Very random. I'm going to do a dab of hot glue, and that ribbon is going to go right in that hot glue. I'm going to put some more over the top of that. I'm going to take 2 leaves, and that's going to go right over the top of those. And it's going to help hold that ribbon right on down in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and do 3 little dots of glue. And I'm going to take 3 flatbacks, and I'm going to place it right on those leaves. Easy, simple, And then I've got our mom, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that one right on down there. Now here's our pink one. We can do either one. I'm going to use the green one on here. And once that's on there, I'm going to flip it over and trim off the remaining piece of that card right there that says Mom. And dun da da da. There we have a beautiful little Mother's Day card there. Look at that. That turned out pretty. So they're all going to be just a little different because of how we place the different decorative papers across the front of that. So I'm going to go ahead and get these done. I wanted to share a little jewel picker that I have, embellishment helper, or however you want to call it. It just has an end. It's really pretty sparkly, and you just press down on it and it'll grab your little whatever you're picking up. And I think it's hilarious because I'm like, I don't know how it works, I just know it does, and I love it. So there we go. Push them on into place. Oh, I moved that out of the way. And that glue's not dry. Alright. And there's our last Mother's Day one. So I'm going to move on to the others. All my little side pieces trimmed. So let's get to popping these last 4 out. I have my sponge sugar, so I'm going to go ahead and get my little edges inked here. Wow. So, when you're making cards and you have a few you need to make, the best thing to do is to find a layout that you like and take it and roll with it. I had several to make this month because one of my swaps was for Mother's Day cards. And so whenever I'm doing a swap, I try to do a card to go with them. And so I have, you know, the Mother's Days card swap, and then I have some birthday swaps that I'm involved in, birthday challenges, sorry. And so I wanted to make sure I got birthday cards done, but I also wanted to give those that were doing the swaps thank you cards. So I did have several to do this month. Usually when I'm doing a swap, I'll make cards that are just, you know, unique for that month. This month, I still think they turned out beautiful. I wish that they were a little more, I guess, I don't know, unique, but I think they are. I thank Crafty. Thank you so much, Alicia, for your inspiration on your sheet loads, because this has really helped me this month get what I needed to done. Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the envelopes for these, because, you know, these are little mini slimlines, and so let's get some envelopes so that everybody has envelopes for their cards. Okay, so for the envelopes, if you're going to do a normal slimline card, you're going to be able to use a number 10 envelope, just a regular number 10 envelope, and that will fit your slimline cards perfectly. Now these are our mini slimlines, and so you can use the it's the number 6 3/4 envelopes. Now when I pulled these out, they fit perfectly, but they're just not real pretty for cards, especially for Mother's Day cards or cards you're going to give as a gift, because when I open it, it is just so business, the blue inside. So what I'm doing is I went ahead and lined the inside of my envelopes. Not It's not perfect, but it covers up that blue real nice. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. I'm going to get these stacked properly so they'll fold a little better. I did not have paper, and so I pulled out a sheet, actually 2 sheets of the light cardstock from the pad that I was using, and I cut them 6 by 4. So 6 inches by 4 inches. So 2 sheets of your card will get you the inside of these envelope flaps perfectly. So what I did was, once I had the 6 by 4, move that away, I scored it at 1 3/4 inch. So 4 by 6, score at 1 3/4, and then I turned it on the 6-inch side, and I used my little T ruler here so I knew I had a straight edge, and I brought it up and I made a mark at 3 inches. That's right smack in the middle. And then I made a little tick here on that score mark and a little tick on the score mark over here. I'm gonna do 2 of them for you. So here's the card I used. On the 6-inch side, on the longer side, that after you've scored, you just have your score at 1 3/4, and then the rest, how tall is that one anyway? Let's see. That one it would be 2 1/4. So on the 2 1/4 inch side, you're going to go up and you're going to mark it right at 3 inches, right at that halfway mark, and then put a little tick right there, right in your score marks. Now I'm going to show you why. I am now going to take my little trimmer here, and I'm going to line up my little mid mark there, and I'm going to line it up to that score mark that I made, that little tick line. So the middle mark to the score mark, and I'm going to slice it on down. Do the same on the other side, that score mark to that middle mark right at the top there. And now we have the inside of our envelope. So let's do it again. 6 by 4, measure up 1 3/4. On the 2 1/4 mark, measure in 3 inches on both sides. It gives you the middle. Mark your score mark. Going to line up. Thomas is under my feet again. That little boy, I tell you, he is not graceful. He's the most loving cat ever, but I don't think he has a graceful bone in his body. Okay, so let's move our trimmer out of the way because we're done with that. And so here we have another inside of our envelope. So here are our envelopes, and I'm going to fold that flap down backwards. I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner, and I'm going to just, on the edges and on the top side of that score mark, I'm going to fold that down. I don't have any adhesive on the back side here. I'm going to take my envelope, I'm going to slide that on in there, and I'm going to make sure it's even. And because I don't have any adhesive on that bottom part, it's not going to stick anywhere until I'm ready. And then I'm just going to fold that top flap over, press it down, and now we have an inside cover. Simple, easy. Once you've done one, it's really easy to do. So my ATG gun, you can use glue if you like. And the reason I'm not using glue on this is these envelopes tend to be a little thin. And if you use glue on a thin paper, you're going to see those glue lines on the other side. So I prefer to use an ATG or some type of tape adhesive instead of glue on this. So let's go ahead and line that up. We have both of ours folded up. We have butterfly. Woo, woo, woo. Line it up there. And then we're going to fold it down. And we have a lined envelope. Isn't that nice? Very nice. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a little pretty on the front. So I am going to go ahead and get my envelopes here. Now 5 of my envelopes, 2, 3, 4, 5 envelopes are going to be for my Mother's Day cards. And so I'm not going to seal those closed. I want to put a wax seal on these, but I don't want to seal them closed. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get a piece of parchment paper. Let me go ahead and get that. So my parchment paper, and I have this really cute little bumblebee. And so I am just going to open my envelope, lay it flat. And I am going to put some of my wax over the top, like you were going to seal it. And I'm just going to make sure that that bumblebee's upright, and I'm just going to sit it, drop it right in that wax. Let it sit there and cool for a moment. I've had this on my heat for just a little bit, so I'm going to take it off. It's really getting hot. Now, I got these for my birthday, and I just love them. My daughter also got me this one that has the S on it, so I'm tickled. It has a little crown and an S on it. Now, when this is ready, it should just lift right on up. And that should, oh, let's let that cool a little bit more on that paper. And we've got a cute little bumblebee right on that seal. And we're going to leave that alone while that cools a little bit. So let's go ahead and move that over and get another one done. Show you how to do that again. Open my envelope, my wax, right on over the tip of this. Want to make sure it's on there real well. It kind of went off the other one a little bit. I need to clean that out, so I'm just going to leave that. Turn it upside down right there so I can clean it. Make sure the bumblebee is right the direction I want it to be. And I'm just going to let it sit. Don't want it to slide off, so I'm just going to rest my finger there. And it's not moving anymore, so I'm going to let it sit and cool for just a moment. Okay, that's done. See how that pulled right on up? Now they can still seal the back of that envelope because I did not cover that sealing point. But I also have folded it down, and there is a cute little wax seal that they can use on that Mother's Day card. Now, I don't like that it didn't come out quite as pretty as I'd like, but that one should be much better. Let's lift. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, so I am going to get some more wax in here. So I've got, what I used here was this really pretty like peach color, and I dropped 3 of those in there. I dropped 2 of these little white pearl ones. And then I dropped one of these little salmon colored ones. See if this is ready to, oh, see, it comes right off that parchment paper. That's gonna fold right on down. Burnish that over, and this is gonna get packaged up in with our Mother's Day cards. I just love the way those are gonna turn out. It just takes that little envelope and it just knocks it up another notch. I just love the way that turned out. Okay, so here are cards. And Mom. So when I package these up, I have a card and I have the envelope. And I'm going to package it like this so that they can see the card on one side and they can see the envelope on the other. And then we'll get that done. So there's one. And then here's another one. I'm going to get some more wax seals done and we'll be back. Okay, my wax is hot again. So I have two envelopes here. I have one for my S. And I want to make sure my crown is up, so it's going to go that way. One for the B. And so I'm going to go ahead and take my hot wax and make sure it's over. Take my S. I'm going to just let it sit down. Now this is just a multicolor Defined Store Delivering with Quality wax seal stamp kit. And I just, it just had multicolors in there, so it was just perfect. So this should lift right on off. And there is my S to go over the top of that envelope. Okay, so I went and got my clear bags that are 5 1/8 by 6 3/4, and I made sure that the envelope is on the side that has the adhesive and the card is on the other side, so that way when you take the strip off and you fold that down, you have your pretty card side over here. Now I may just fold that down and put some washi tape across that, but I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I might just leave it just like that and put a little washi tape across the edge there. We will see. But there is the bag, and there we have it. So I'm going to finish these up and get the moms packaged up and get the others ready for me to send out. Well, there you have it, guys. Here are, this is my version of Crafty Owl's Sheetload of Cards. Thank you all so much for joining me today as I get my cards ready to be mailed out for this month in April. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you've not subscribed to my channel, I do hope you consider doing so now by hitting that subscribe button. If you like what I'm doing and you'd like to know when I'm uploading new videos, hit that bell notification and YouTube should notify you when I've uploaded a new video. As always, guys, stay safe, God bless, and bye for now.